Solar Flash Update, October 31st. We created a totally new timeline. Even the gods don't know what is coming next. This YouTube channel is completely supported by the thunderwizard.com Patreon subscription site, where you can get higher dimensional energy practices, personal mentorship, spiritual counseling, live Zoom group classes. Go check out thunderwizard.com to see all of the ways that you can subscribe and benefit. Also, while you're there, check out the shop for specific video courses and teachings. My books can be found at michaelwilliamdenny.com. As always, my suggestion is to question your reality and then change it. Every Wednesday and Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we have the live guided CE5 interdimensional meditation to activate the 5D Solar Flash Ascension event and destroy the dark forces. This is the most powerful thing that you can do. It is free. Just show up, or if you can't make it during the live stream, then go and watch it in the live section as it's been archived on this channel. All right, I do have a list of things I'm going to talk about, so make sure you stay for the whole video to get all of the stuff I need to give to you. This is incredibly powerful information. We created a totally new timeline. Even the gods don't know what is coming next. So, look, this has been a very challenging, past couple of years. I mean, if we're being honest, past, 4 years or whatever, just the world has completely gone crazy. On top of that, since early 2022, since January, we've been getting pummeled by solar storms and radiation, and it has completely, totally discombobulated our, the energy of the earth, our energy. We are in the midst of the solar flash event. So according to the light beings that communicated with me about all of this, they made it very clear that the solar flash event is a series of events, a series of solar waves. And we are in that. We are experiencing it. I don't know how you feel right now. It's October 31st for me. I am almost coming out of my skin. So much energy, whether that's coming from a solar storm or whether that's just because of I'm getting all of these communications, or just because I'm at that level in the ascension shifting that I'm coming apart. So if you're feeling this, don't discount it. It's very real. Let me give you one tip. One thing that I'm doing multiple times during the day is the energy is very intense, and my first reaction, my first physical 3D reaction to the energy is to feel anxiety. And I start looking for problems in my life. And I start flipping out over things that aren't problems. Things that were a problem that I fixed, or I'm gonna fix, or I got plenty of time to deal with. It's just, that's what my brain does. It immediately goes in what they call catastrophizes the whole thing. So if you're experiencing that, because I know a lot of people are going through a lot of actual real physical 3D difficulties, and on top of that, people are also having a lot of, just anxiety and fear and all kinds of crazy emotions from all of these solar energies that are hitting us. What I do is, when I become aware of that, I stop and I tell myself, I'm ascending. This is what it feels like to ascend. And I relax into it. I accept it. I go with it. I will even out loud say things like, I am choosing to ascend. I am choosing to shift. I am going against my attachments. I am, and I will talk about my 5D earth I live in, and I'll just describe it. This is a very important thing to be doing right now. As we talked about, I don't know when it was, maybe it was last night in the live stream. One of the most valuable hints that was given to me by a light being when I asked, do you have any advice for me? This being said, what you say is what you mean, and what you mean is what becomes true. So you don't have to believe it. You just have to, you make the decision to say it. Speak the truth into existence. There has never been a time in history where human beings have had more power to speak into existence their reality. You are magical, and the energies that are hitting us are giving us this power. Depending on, normally, 5-10 years ago, if you wanted to complain about your reality, yeah, it would eventually manifest, but it would take a while. You might be able to throw something out and it wouldn't have that huge of an effect right away. Right now, everything that you say, everything that you make decisions on is happening instantaneously. So I encourage you to really make the decision to decide to shift. I know that the third dimensional reality that you're experiencing is challenging, and it's your senses and your perception are pulling you into it, making you want to reinforce that. I encourage you to focus on what you know to be spiritually true and to speak that into existence and to invest in those things, because we are creating our reality more than we realize, and that's what I'm going to talk about today when we get into these timelines. All right, so anyway, before I go any further, I just want to thank everybody who has responded to my Thunder Wizard donation options. It's been it's meant a lot to me, and it's been very helpful. And again, I like to be helpful to others and give back. So if you decide to donate, you will get a gift from me that will be cheaper than if you normally buy it. If you want to support this channel, because again, I've got some shifts coming up. I have been making huge progress on my banking issues, so I appreciate your well wishings on that. I still do have some housing changes coming up that is going to take some money and some attention. So if you want to help me with that and help keep the channel going while I'm going through that, then we've got these donation options. If you want to donate, you go to paypal.com and donate to my direct email account, which is 5elementdao@gmail. There's 2 E's there and 2 T's there, if you notice, so make sure you spell it right. And please make sure that you use the friends and family option. In case you don't know what happens, you click donate, it'll go to a page, and then you have to pick. Is it for goods or services, or is it for friends and family? And some people have forgotten, and they, listen, I appreciate it. I end up having to pay a fee. It costs the same for you. I have to pay a fee, and then I'm going to have to pay taxes on that later. So make sure you use the friends and family option. All right, again, thank you very much for that. I'm going to keep this going because it saves you money for the same stuff that you would get from me anyway. So anyway, let's go back to what it is we're talking about. Creating a completely new timeline. So let's just get right into it here. We are in a completely new, unforeseen timeline. Our timeline has completely shifted. So ever since we started doing these live guided interdimensional meditations, ever since we started doing that, my light being interdimensional experiences, they're not gradually getting more intense. They get, they go through these plateaus, these explosive plateaus. And when we do these meditations, almost every single time, either right afterwards, light beings will come and talk to me, and they will go crazy with, you have no idea what you're accomplishing in a good way. You have no idea how amazing this is, how powerful this is. And I've just gotten used to it, and before, when you remember when one of our favorite political candidates had that mishap with his ear. If you remember that, I talked about what, just before that, we did a live interdimensional meditation, and it was very powerful. And afterwards, the light beings came and they said, you did it. You destroyed them. You beat the dark forces. Everything's different. I looked around and I said, things look the same to me. I don't know what you guys are talking about. And they said, watch what's going to happen. And within a day, 2 days, we find that out. And here's the thing that, we've had some time since then. And I've stumbled onto people who have had near-death experiences, and people who, channels and psychics, and, the ones I look at, Vedic astrologers. And people were saying that this political candidate was going to get unalived, and that they saw that was coming. And so, afterwards, I kind of, after we had that powerful live meditation, and then that happened where he turned his head, and if he hadn't turned his head, it would have completely, totally unalived him. They said, you did that, meaning when we did our live guided meditation, we did that. We completely shifted things. So I want you to understand the power of these meditations. And let me tell you once again what is happening. When we do these live guided meditations and we follow the protocol, it's so simple. It's so amazingly simple. I do some meditation and some qigong and some, the whole breath to get us connected. But the moment that we choose to come out of our body and leave Earth's atmosphere, even if it's just an intention, you don't have to experience it. You don't have to see it. It doesn't have to be a vision. It doesn't have to be an out-of-body experience. It's just an intention. When you make that intention and you go out and you choose to connect with higher dimensional beings, you are no longer in the 3D matrix. And that's incredibly important. And I know that it doesn't seem like that to you. It doesn't seem like that to me. Now, I'm lucky. Some of you may feel some of the things that I feel. I know some of you don't have huge experiences out there. I know some of you do. Now, I'm lucky because I've been, they've hooked me up to their dimensions. So when we're out there doing things, I immediately feel it energetically many times. When we're chanting, or when we say things, or when I make an intention and I make a statement about what is going to happen with the energy, I will feel an immediate, very powerful, higher dimensional energy. And I've gotten used to it. It's just part of the roller coaster ride for me. It's pleasant and enjoyable, but I've just kind of gotten used to it. And my third dimensional mind wants to downplay all of this. So I'm doing these meditations with you, and I do them, and I have experiences, and then I come back into my 3D body, and I'm like, and then I go through all the same 3D attachment challenge issues that everybody else goes through. And so I'm like split in two. I've got two experiences going on. And because I'm a third dimensional being, I tend to project my third dimensional perception onto everything. That's what we all do. But for a very long time, light beings have been really trying to help me understand that what we're doing in these meditations is far more powerful, far more intense than anything that we can comprehend. And they've said this before, we do these meditations, and sometimes, like I said, right afterwards, or sometimes it'll take a day or so, and then light beings will show up and they will say, you have no idea what you're accomplishing in these meditations, and here's, and it starts, and it's so grandiose and so, fantastical that, it just kind of gets tuned out, because there's nothing in me there's no frame of reference. If we talk about things that happen here on earth, I have a frame of reference for that. But we're talking about when we do these meditations, we go completely outside of the third dimensional matrix. So we've got this meditation here, which I've talked to you about, the Atum Ra meditation, where you become the god of your own universe. Now, I put that meditation, it's there at thunderwizard.com, and I encourage you to go take a look at that if that interests you. But it's happening. If you're doing these free live guided meditations, it's still happening. This meditation, I walk you through it so you have a better understanding of what it all means. And, anyway, it's a powerful meditation, but this isn't a religion. This isn't, you don't have to follow a certain, 10 commandments in order to get this thing. It's freely available to everybody. And, use whatever tools you can that will help you. And I'm absolutely committed to doing that. But I'm not explaining what I want to explain. And I'll get to it when we talk about this some more. But when we do these meditations, we're not in the matrix anymore. So if you want to become God, I'm being dead serious about this. I am not being symbolic here. I am being completely, totally, literally dead serious. If you want to become God of this universe, if you want to become the supreme God of all of the dimensions, you can. Any one of you listening to me can. There's nothing stopping you. Absolutely nothing. The way you do that is you leave the matrix, and it's very simple. It's just the CE5 protocol. The CE5 protocol is you get yourself in a slightly meditative state or a fully, deeply meditative state. Doesn't matter. You imagine yourself coming out of your body. You fly up out of Earth's atmosphere, and when you're out there in space, you send a invitation for light beings from higher dimensions, your guides, your higher self, God. I really don't care what, it doesn't matter, to come and help you meditate in this higher dimensional state, to experience higher dimensions. Once you do that, you're no longer in this 3D matrix. So what ends up, where I have got stumbled in my brain, and where a lot of people I see stumble, people think that they've become a god if they can change, play with energy and change the laws of physics, or, magic. They want to manifest something, make themselves rich, or, something like that. Now, I got nothing against any of that. That stuff is a lot of fun. I used to do that in martial arts. I used to do that, those kinds of really crazy magical martial arts. I used to do that. It's a real thing. It really exists. But you're just playing with the program. You're inside the program, playing around with the program. So even if you become king, the supreme ruler of earth, you're still inside of the matrix. You're still inside of the game. and you've accomplished nothing because this game is being deleted. So one of the things that the elites are completely screwing up on, and I'm seeing this, I'm just giving you my perspective. I'm watching all of these celebrities, and we're learning every day what celebrities have had to do in order to become celebrities. They've literally had to sell their souls to the devil, and they've got guns to their head. You can't get that far without, coming to a secret party or a secret meeting, and you're getting filmed, and then when the time comes, there's been a handful of celebrities who were asked a while ago, who they supported, and they said, I don't support political candidates. I'm an entertainer. People should make up their own mind. And then months later, they're out there making their recommendations. It's because they've got something on them, or they've been bought. And so it just lets you know that you cannot seek to rule inside of this game without being controlled by it. Now, the strange thing, the ironic thing, is that when you leave this three-dimensional reality in these meditations that we're doing, and you actively intend to change the matrix, you are doing it. Now, you have to come back into the matrix. This is what's so interesting and amazing about this process. The beings that are changing the matrix are the ones that are inside of it. So it's very confusing. Very confusing for me. I put up some videos a while back saying I've completely lost my mind and I don't care anymore. And you can go watch those if you want, but I basically have said, I have to make a decision. Do I want to believe what is happening in my meditative states, or do I want to believe what I see and what I experience in this 3D world? Because I can't have both. I got to pick one. And I just decided that it's easier to believe what I'm being told. And as I'm saying that, I'm getting hit with energy. And so, as difficult as it is to believe, and it sounds crazy, we're living in the game. We are living in we are experiencing the simulation. So to believe that the simulation is real is crazy. But inside the simulation, to believe what is happening out in those higher dimensions, that's crazy according to the rules of the game. So we got to decide to go crazy. So if you want to become a god, and I mean this as literally as I could mean it, an extremely powerful God that has the ability to create entire universes, if you want to have that power, you can have it. The way you do that is you go do these interdimensional meditations, and by making the decision to change this reality, you supersede all of the gods. You become more powerful than any of them. This is one of the things that's been blowing my mind. The light beings, the gods themselves, have been coming to me and saying, you're more powerful than we are. We are here to serve you. Tell us what reality you want to create. And you get to decide what reality is being created. You get to decide the next simulation, because what we're doing is we're creating a higher frequency simulation. It's going to be like this, but it'll be better. It's an upgrade. This one's getting deleted, so we get to create the next one. We get to be the gods of. I'm not kidding here. We get to be the gods of the next mythological teachings. The mythological teachings in the next world, when they talk about the gods who created this reality, they will be talking about us. The same way that when we talk about, how Odin and Thor, how Odin created the universe, in that mythology, guess what? That was a person just like me or you. And that Odin created a reality. Atum, the mythology of Atum, that was a person just like me or you. And the first interdimensional meditation I did, you can find it, it's still on the channel. It was in June of 2022. And I was talking with the light beings after interacting with them, and I knew that there was some shift or some ascension event, and I said, what is this thing going to be? And they said, it's going to be a series of solar waves. And I said, well, when is it going to happen? When is the world going to shift? And they said, that's up to you. And I went, oh, okay. I mean, it was very naive of me. I went, oh, okay, well then I'm going to go do it. And I decided I would do a live meditation and bring you guys with me. So I did this live meditation. We went out and we chanted, and they came back and they went absolutely bonkers. They were so happy. They said, you have no idea what you've accomplished. A light being showed up with more power than I've ever experienced in my life. He had so much power, it almost broke me. My third dimensional body almost came apart. Not because of him, but because my mind couldn't wrap itself around the level of energy. And that being spoke. And that being said, that he gave me a title. He said, you are the supreme Lord of this universe. And that hit me, and it twisted me all up. It was very challenging. But I now believe it. Because when we're going out there and we are doing these meditations, things are happening on this earth that weren't supposed to happen. I'm here to tell you that our friend, or if you don't like him, your enemy, the political personality who had the mishap with his ear, he was supposed to, and it was supposed to create civil war, World War III. It was supposed to do all that. We changed that. That's what I was told. So I'm telling you this because they've been saying to me, they continue to come to me and say to me, your power is growing. Your power is becoming beyond. We've never seen anything like this before. We've never seen a being amass as much energy as you are amassing. And one of the things that happened a while back, my first light being teacher, which is a mantis light being. Early on, he said, I want to show you something. And he went to the sun, and he did what I was doing in these live guided meditations. He went into the sun and he tried to send solar energy to the earth, and nothing happened. And he came out and he said, I can't do it. He said, only you can do it because you're from Earth. So it's extremely important you understand how powerful you are. And it's going to be challenging because your third dimensional perception, that's all it is. Your third dimensional perception is a video game character. Of course, it can't do anything. It's been written into your character that it only has certain abilities. It doesn't have an ability to go beyond that. But that doesn't change the fact that you're a god outside of the matrix. Just like when you play a video game. Your video game character is your video game character. It has nothing to do with who you are as you're sitting there with the controllers. You drop the controller and you go do something. Your video game character's limitations have nothing to do with your life outside of that game. And the same is true when we're out in doing these meditations. Your limitations here have nothing to do with the power you have out there. And if you make the decision when you're out there that you're going to take responsibility for this earth and you're going to take the responsibility to shift it up to your greatest fantasy, I promise you, the gods themselves will go, and they will come to you, and they will give you power. Outside of the game. You'll still be a three-dimensional being in the game, but outside of the game, you will have unbelievable, infinite power. It's completely up to you. All right. So we are in a completely new unforeseen timeline. This is what I was told today. And again, I've decided I'm going to listen. They've told me things like this for a long time, and I half listen and I half don't. Because it's just, I feel like I'm losing my mind. It's very hard to function here and have all that going on. I've just decided I'm going to choose to believe whatever they tell me. And so they came to me today and they said, you have no idea what you've accomplished. And they started talking about how when we're doing these meditations and we're chanting and I'm sending my intentions, that the timelines are completely, totally changing. Because the timelines that they saw, which has been coming out in people's predictions and in like Vedic astrology readings and those kinds of things, people's near-death experiences, and they come back and they talk about certain things. They said, you completely changed that. And they say, you have this power. You can go and completely change these timelines. One time a light being said, it's extremely important that you believe what we're telling you about who you are. It's extremely important you listen to us and you believe it. I'm telling you, it's very important that you believe in your power, your ability to do this. We are now outside of anything that the gods and the light beings saw happening. We're in a whole different place. So they don't even know what's coming next. They're waiting to hear from us. I've had experiences where councils have come to me and they've said, so what do you want to have happen next? And I'll tell them, I want this to happen and this to happen and this to happen. They go, okay. And they talk it over. They go, we'll see if we can work that out. We are in complete control of what the timelines are. What the timelines were, what has been predicted, has been if we just stay human and follow the path. That's how ascension is going to go. Would you like to shift that up? Would you like to take out 80% of all of the nonsense? It's your decision. You go out there and you decide. What's going to happen, at least for a while, I don't know how long, doesn't matter. Time is not important anymore. Whether it's 100 years or 1 second, it doesn't matter. But when we go out there and we make decisions about the new world that we're going to create, when we do that, all of the predicted timelines completely disappear. The other feeling that I've gotten is that the gods themselves didn't expect us. They didn't expect me. And I wish I might have to make a video explaining it, but the past that I remember has within it numerous very powerful what they were interdimensional but supernatural experiences that seemed really out of place. And the way I remembered is that they happened and they seemed out of place and I didn't understand them. I didn't know what they meant. And my understanding is that when we did that first live guided interdimensional meditation, I got the attention. Because I was so naive that I decided I was just going to go and start the solar flash event. That's all it was. Like, well, I'll just go get the thing started. I didn't even think twice about it. I didn't think I can't do it, I can do it. I just went out and it's a meditation. I'll just go do it. I mean, somebody's got to do it, right? That was my thought process. I didn't think it just so childish and naive. And I got somebody's attention. I got somebody's very powerful. I got their attention, and the feeling I got was that being said, we've been looking for somebody like you. So I'm going to upgrade you, make you Supreme Lord of the Universe. And, and then what ended up happening is that at that moment, I can't remember, anyway, for descriptive purposes, let's just look at it that way. That moment when that being spoke to me that way and spoke that into my reality, that being was simultaneously going back into my past and giving me these spiritual experiences, which I now have in my memory, which now explain to me a lot of things. But my understanding is that didn't originally happen. My original life went just a normal way, and by making that one choice to just go out there and change reality, start the solar flash event, somebody decided to give me more power than I had before and changed my history so that it would make sense to me. I don't need for any of that to be true. But anyway, I'm getting lost in the weeds. Let's keep going. So we are in a completely new, unforeseen timeline. Humans must become aware of how powerful they are. We are in control over what happens next on Earth. We are in control. So I want to help you let go of any... People ask me this all the time. I ask this question a lot. When is the shift going to happen? When is the solar flash going to happen? When are these things going to happen? And I get the same answer every time. It's going to happen when you decide. It's going to happen how you decide. I'm taking that literally. Because when we do these meditations, we're shifting things. So, what do you want to have happen? When do you want to have it happen? How do you want to have it happen? Decide. We are in control over what happens next on Earth. The gods, the light being councils, are waiting for our orders. This is the amazing part. When you make the decision that you're going to become the ruling deity of the universe, and of course you're aligned with your soul, because it doesn't work if you don't align with your soul. If you're aligned to your ego or to your fear or to other 3D stuff, it doesn't work. You're not plugged into that power. You have to be aligned from your soul. So your soul operates from love. Your soul operates from all of those things that spirituality, true spirituality teaches. You have to have compassion for yourself and others at the same time. You have to want what's best for everybody at the same time. You have to work through your codependence. You have to work through your narcissism. You have to let go of your attachments. So you've got to work to connect to your soul. But when you connect to your soul, the gods, the light being councils will follow your orders. If you come and you make a command as to what's going to happen and you're connected to your soul, they will give it to you. Remember that we are the light beings that are currently in this earth program. The councils out there, the gods, the extraterrestrials, the light beings, the higher spirits, teacher spirits, they're not in the game anymore. They're not in this experiment, this consciousness experiment. They're not in it. We are. And we are now, since it's being deleted and repurposed, it's being deleted and shifted up to a higher frequency. We get to decide what the next one is. We get to decide how it works, what the rules of that matrix will be. We get to decide how much knowledge and awareness we get to keep. We get to decide how much connection we have to higher dimensions and other civilizations. We get to decide that. Because it's our game. We're in it. Why? Because we volunteered to come here. All of the beings out there, no matter how powerful they are, they didn't volunteer to come into this game. We did. And so since the game is changing, and since we are just like them, we are light beings ourselves, we get to decide. So take your authority and make the decision about what you want this reality to be and what you want it to do. And when you do that, the gods, the councils, the light beings, I mean, there's all different kinds of very powerful beings out there. They will do what you command. I want the world to be like this, and I want it to be like that, and I want, make it up. Whatever gives you happiness. They'll go, okay, and they'll go make it happen. Right now, the frequency split is internal, but that's going to change. But it's extremely powerfully happening on an internal basis. I'm lucky. Listen, I'm in the last third of my life. I'm 61. I don't have, I'm not, I don't have any ambition left, like I did when I was in my 20s and 30s. I had an ambition for a career, and I had to become something and accomplish things. And, you're trying to find your partners and your relationships, and you're doing that whole dance with the sexuality and romance and all that. And, that's all behind me. I'm really just focused on this. This is the only thing that matters to me. And surfing. Outside of that, there's really nothing here that holds my attention. So I'm lucky. I can do this. And even in that, it's very challenging to make the decision to completely believe this internal reality. That if I were to describe this to a psychologist, they would say, yes, you're suffering from a psychotic break. You're suffering from a delusion. This is very challenging. I'm going to write a prescription for you. And so I have to continue to choose on a daily basis to go after this unreal, crazy thing. So the frequency split is internal, so you have to decide in here. It would be so much easier if there were two doors. If we were just sitting there and two magical doors appeared, and one said 3D, bad, 5D, good. We would be able to, choice is very simple. We'd pick but that's not what's happening. What's happening is that internally, there's a war in us between 3D attachment and 5D. And going after 5D, I'm hearing it, I experienced it, but I'm hearing it more and more. People feel like they're betraying the human race. They feel like they're betraying planet Earth. They feel like they're betraying their own soul by choosing this 5D path. Their experiences are splitting them. It's been happening with me, splitting your attachments and your experiences and your belief, and all of the negative stuff is coming up. People are flipping out even more than ever. You're being tested on every level, which really means you're manifesting all of your unconscious negativity, which means you either have to follow it and let it take you down or go in the opposite direction. Take the risk. I've been telling people for a while, the last thing I think anybody should be doing is investing in, 3D reality constructs like going to college and, trying to get, some kind of degree and trying to get a career and trying to get a savings and trying to, get into the stock market. All that stuff's going away. All of it. And the more that you do that, now I realize, I'm grateful I don't own a house. I'm sad that I have to pay on a car that I drive. They've got me, but again, mortgage is a death grip. It's the exact opposite of, you don't own anything. Instead of paying rent to a landlord, you're you're paying rent to a bank. I've talked about that. I mean, that 3D reality is going to get a lot worse if they have their way. So I don't recommend investing in that. I recommend investing in your soul, doing what you want. Listen, you got to do what you got to do. Right now, we live in the 3D and we got to pay bills. I got to pay bills, so you got to survive. So you do what you got to do now. But at some point, everything's going to be different. And the more that you invest in the 3D, the more they're going to, just watch. It's going to be like, trying to dance with a boa constrictor. The more that you fight against it, the tighter it helps them squeeze. So don't play that game, is my suggestion. You must face your deepest attachments. You must rebel against your 3D programmed identity. So I've kind of already said that. But once again, your identity, who you think you are, is a fictional program. All of the anger that you have, the fear that you have, all of your psychological issues, all of your reactions, all of your lust and greed and, all of it. Those are all reactions to the simulation that's based on a fictional character, your avatar. That's all it is. So, I just don't even, I don't recommend wasting any time with any of it. What did I say here? So you got to rebel against that. The way you rebel against it is by doing the opposite. The most powerful thing we can be doing is when we do these meditations. I don't know if you've noticed it. I have. Each time I do these meditations, I suffer. The next day, today's Thursday. We did one last night. So I usually the next day feel really raw and uncomfortable and vulnerable and frightened, and all of my human stuff comes to the surface. It's because every time we do that, every time I do these meditations, I am destroying my 3D program, which is tantamount to dying to yourself. It's exactly what it is. So we have to do that. Unfortunately, the fantasy that spirituality has been giving us, we're going to achieve enlightenment and we're going to walk on water, and I've had my awakening moment and I'm woke now, and that's not how it works. Odin's path. This is why mythology is more accurate. Go read about Odin's sacrifice to himself on the tree of life. He sacrificed himself to himself. And nobody was there to help him through it. Screaming, he took up the runes and then became king of the gods. That isn't some kind of symbolic, poetic description. That is literal. That is literal. And he was a person. And he became the king of the gods because he died to himself. And everybody can do it. Everybody. There isn't anybody on this planet that can't become king of the gods. So look, I just, anyway. So, all right, so that's, I guess we're all done. So, again, every Wednesday and Saturday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, live guided CE5 interdimensional meditations. There's plenty of recorded ones. Go check them out. If you're having challenging times, I encourage you to lean into it. That's what the thunderwizard.com website is all about. completely focused. I am still taking apprentices. So you can go there and subscribe at the apprenticeship level. We've got live Zoom group classes. We'll have one tomorrow because tomorrow's the first and third Friday of every month. And it's there for people to talk through these kinds of things. And when you talk to other people that are doing this work, you realize you're not going crazy and you're not alone. It's very helpful. So all of these things are here for you in case you need it. Go to thunderwizard.com, check it out. My books, michaelwilliamdenny.com. And again, if you want to donate, you can go to support.thunderwizard.com to hear all that stuff. And even though I made that video when I was, having some real problems, I'm making a lot of progress. I'm not out of the woods yet, but things are looking very promising. But I think it's still helpful. It's a way to not only help me, but to help you. So go check that out. Follow the instructions, please. And that's it. We're all done. I love you all. Please realize how powerful you are. The most powerful being that's ever existed is you. You just have to realize that you're not. When you look in the mirror, that's a 3D avatar. That's not who you are. And I encourage you to join us in these meditations and find out who you really are. Check out the Atlantean Egyptian Path to Becoming God, which you can find at thunderwizard.com, the Atum meditation. That's it, my friends. I love you all. Please take very good care of yourselves, and I will see you all very soon.